big
say
blind
10 seconds, and the next blinds are 400, 800.
But
And he should know from experience, he never finds them.
All right, welcome back. We're about to start the blinds are 400, 800, and our chip counts are Mark Cutronello with 2,300, Paul Moskowitz with 12,200, Rob Newman with 10,700, and Marco with 8,400.
Boards are good. Buttons move.
I like the black one too.
All right, there was a green one.
Oh, like in the Star Trek.
All right, Robert to act first this hand.
She was hot.
Chris, did you turn your mic up a little bit?
how's this?
Beautiful.
I feel if I actually speak into the microphone, you can hear me a little better. Slightly lax back here, leaning back in the chair, being comfortable.
Texting.
Battle of the blinds.
I think if anybody bets at this,
Sure.
Paul picks up a 4.
It's definitely Paul's to take.
800 bet by Paul.
And he breathes on it and takes it down.
Yep. No, I'm pushing the pot so you can crawl.
I just want to make sure.
Button moves. First act will be Mark.
Marco almost never put Paul on a bluff, so.
Not many people will.
Small one?
Were you just small one? He was just a button. Oh.
First act, Marco.
Marco with ace-9 under the gun.
Raised to
It's a
1,500.
22, a 24, a 32, and a 22% chance. The ace-9 looks
Doesn't the
dramatically
raise
better.
have to be 16?
Yeah, it does.
Marco with a min raise. Newman will call with just about anything.
Newman calls.
Call.
Newman checked. Marco went all in. Newman calls.
There we go, boys. Damn! You suck. Yeah, you're much better now, bro.
Nice.
Oh my god.
Robert had it on the flop, lost it on the turn, won it back on the river.
I know what picture I'm posting tonight.
And that
I think
looks
that
like
hand there pretty much sums up
Marco
both of their games.
out in 4th place.
Good hand. Good hand. Good hand.
He jammed while he was ahead. That's how you do it. He pulled a Marco and it paid off.
Good game, guys.
And the funny thing is, as I was saying, you suck. I was like, well, if he turns over a 7, maybe not. Then you hit a 10 to make it a little bit.
Yeah, I got the X-ray on my phone. You guys seen the X-ray of his?
The horseshoe up my ass. He said.
X-ray of the horseshoe up there.
Button is on
Last
Moskowitz.
week,
Moskowitz
Crafton
to
had
act
the
first.
Okay.
He did have a horse.
And we're down to 3.
He was short stacked like 4 hands in, and then he comes back and I forget where.
14 minutes, 20 seconds left in the blinds.
Really was hitting everything. Really was hitting everything. Robert, I'm going with you, brother.
Oh, so that's what happened.
That's what happened. I'm not just going to double the bet there, you know.
Yeah, I wondered about that.
Yeah, I was trying to,
Mark takes the queen high.
Yeah, if you're going to go all in on nothing, why you were just mid-raise.
right. He should not have, I shouldn't even let him in the hand.
Okay. That makes a little more sense.
That was error, but that's all it takes sometimes is one error like that.
Button in action on Robert.
And then just for spite, I hit the ace, and
Well, and I also was wondering, if you misraise, then, Is that a reason you might have went all in? Because you were upset because you didn't raise?
Not so much upset, but I just, if he missed totally, my ace is good, and I just want to end the hand there. And I was like at 8,000. He had 10,000. I think Paul is 12. So, we're all right there.
3,000? Raised to 3,000 by Robert under the gun.
When he insta-called, I thought he was stronger than he was, so.
Takes it down.
No, not in that situation either. But yeah, I am disappointed in myself for making that mistake. Nope. Pick up some points from last year. Yep, exactly. And it's good to see Mark in because he was out first. Actually, we were the first, I think we were the first 4 out last week.
Weren't you second?
Yeah, I was second, yep.
He was first, you were second. Mark with a 5-6 suited. This is the game he likes to play.
Mark first act raises to 2,300.
Paul instant marks at 6-7 suited.
Everybody folds.
His size raise gets robbed to fold his eight.
Yep, see, 10, same exact hand.
I knew you already.
Yep.
Moskowitz act first.
I knew you were going to do that. That was classic.
It's been so long since I've actually had a chance to mess with
I think
it.
you
Last
did.
time
I
I
think
saw
you
you
did.
was at a ball. Oh.
Nobody believes that.
Nobody is.
He's a teetotaler.
It wasn't a bar.
It was a bar mitzvah.
Yeah,
That's what it was.
It was a Brit.
You come up with better than anyone I
He's pretty quick.
Nobody's gonna call him here, but he's way too tight. It'd be interesting to see Rob have King Queen or something here.
Raised to 2,200 by Moskowitz.
Both of them will be 100.
Oh, look, these players know how to raise.
Forever ago.
Well, he just didn't like to say gay bar.
Button moves.
I was there.
Action on Robert.
Yeah, good thinking.
Everybody needs an extra 10 cents a month, right? It's okay. He used to mess with
Yeah, so much for Brandon being quiet today, huh?
Yeah, well.
You know, he works security at like different places and stuff, I guess. And the one gay club downtown paid way more than the others, and he was always there. Like, going back again tonight, huh? When are you gonna stop admitting? When are you gonna stop claiming you're working? Just come out, come clean. We're fine with
It's
that.
not supposed to work makes work with pleasure, dude.
Mark could actually win this hand if he plays it right.
Mark calls.
And they both.
Paul checks his option.
Both the races. An ace loss.
All right.
Both players check.
I think I can find it.
I'd love to see Mark make a bet
You
here.
gotta match the pot for my card back.
That's fine.
Mark bets 1,000.
Yeah, there's no way Paul's calling.
I've been happy to be in there.
Paul folds.
Swap two pair.
He made it small enough that if Paul did have something.
Blinds are still 400, 800. 9 minutes, 40 seconds left in blinds.
So, what's your prediction? Who you think's going to take it down tonight?
Paul picks up queens. Look at that. No calls though. I think Rob might make a strong comeback.
He's probably first in chips now. After
Well, he had,
Raised to 2,400 by
or he's
Moskowitz.
even with Mark.
Yeah.
Damn, they're ready to throw him if they said call.
The problem with being so tight with Paul, he's not going to get any action unless it's two big hands, and then either he's going to, he could be the underdog with the underpair.
Dolly's working it.
Action on Paul.
So we don't have all with another pair.
What was like after I hit my ace, what was the percentage? Like 90-10 or something like that? He had about 10% chance to hit his 3 sevens and 2 tens.
Paul raises 2,200.
About around 10%.
Everybody folds.
Yeah.
I mean, a little more than 90. A little less than that.
Mm-hmm.
Action on Robert.
Went so fast we didn't even get to see the eyes. Well, we saw them, but so fast we didn't notice them.
Right.
But I did say one thing. That pretty well summed up both the playing styles tonight. You guys were throwing chips around from the beginning.
Mm-hmm. I felt better about my play this week than I did last week. I mean,
Robert
I
raises to
finished
3,000.
later. Okay, we might see some action here.
Paul's cards aren't there again. I mean, Mark's aren't.
Mark's, are
Or
you
did he fold?
No.
Oh, I thought he. I'm sorry. That's my fault. I thought he was.
And Rob takes it down with the worst hand.
Did you want it?
Kind of. I mean, I wouldn't have been disappointed. Unless you hit it, then I would have been disappointed.
Yeah.
Action on Mark.
Oh, it didn't mean?
All with the raise. I think Mark's gonna go with the street.
Mark calls 800.
I just call.
Paul calls 800. Robert checks his option. Mark bets 1,200.
I would bet 95%.
Everybody folds.
Oh, I agree.
Moskowitz stack first.
And Paul keeps picking up weak aces, but he won't push them or won't play them. And he's letting other hands like that.
And it's hard. It's hard sometimes to get yourself to do it.
I mean, three-handed, though.
I
Yeah.
agree with you. I would play an
That's what I'm saying.
a lot more
Well,
aggressive.
you doing this is part of it. Sometimes, like the last two hands, you didn't have it over completely. Okay. It's
Paul's a lot tighter than I am.
24.
2,400 raise by Robert. Takes it down.
Hooker, what are you guys doing here?
5 minutes, 20 seconds left in the blind.
Oh, I didn't say anything. That's why we're waiting until you told me. Really? You really think I can influence either one of you? You're an influence. I may be an instigator, but that's totally different.
I'm very Brandon.
Oh, in that case, you jam them all, Paul.
Raised to 1,600 by Robert.
A lot.
Got a call.
One caller. Mark.
I wouldn't mind seeing a raise.
Moskowitz folds.
Yeah.
He's fucking queen, so you can do it.
No shit. That's all weird. 24.
Apparently you wanted me to call.
We're good with the check raise here.
Robert bets 2,400. Mark calls.
No, just a call. And let him get
36.
3,600 bet by Robert.
No.
Mark lets it go.
Right. I think he played that hand completely backwards. Check raise there, and right.
Button on Mark to act first.
That's why I said Rob, picked Rob because he's got a lot of range to his game and can,
Oh, he'll
know.
just keep firing and firing and firing.
3 minutes, 33 seconds left. Blinds are
In here, you know,
400, 800. Raised to 2,200 by Mark.
Can you hear me now, PJ?
Kinda, it's still a little muffled though.
Yeah, still a little soft.
How about now?
I'd get closer to the mic.
I'll swallow it if I can.
Oh,
That's what he said.
There's something wrong with the levels or something.
I can go in there. Robert checks. Mark bets 3.
Robert with the draw. You only catch a 4 or a 5 to win his hand. Rob, let's have it go. How's that now?
No, it's the same.
No?
Sounds like you're.
Mic's off.
Well, he's been out for
How about now, PJ, when we turn the mic on?
Paul?
Has it been off since the beginning of the show?
Well, no, since break.
Okay. All right. There we go.
And now I'm back here.
there we go. Mike's always work better when the on button's on. 1,600 bet by Robert and a call by Mark.
Nice call by Mark.
1,600 bet by Robert.
Can Mark stay with the hand? Not
Mark
sure yet.
stayed again
Call by Mark.
with third pair. Uh-oh. This could get ugly here.
Yep. Somebody's gonna.
The only thing that might slow it
1600
down
bet by
is
Robert.
the flush. There's a flush draw out there. Mark might just call.
Raised to 4,000
I
by
like
Mark.
the raise there.
I do
There's
too.
3 people
I do
in.
too.
Now you just.
I think Rob.
Now Rob can only probably call here because of the flush. He has to be worried about the flush.
Robert calls.
Oh, you dog, you cocksucker.
2 pair for Mark Cucciarella.
Two pair.
Yeah, we're gonna need to put the bleep button out there on.
Yeah.
Because he's supposed to call, he's gonna.
We should just have our own bleep buttons because we.
The back door flush.
Enough talk about closets and back doors here, okay?
Is Brandon a little homophobic?
See if I'm shuffling. What is it?
Still 4-8. Last hand.
And there's the gong. So that hurt Rob. I can't see what he's down to, but
Yeah.
Last hand at 400, 800.
Tony, how many chips does Rob have left? Oh, he's got a good stack of
Yeah,
yellows.
yeah. 15,000 or so.
Yeah, okay, so it didn't hurt him too bad, but
It's showing Mark is the winner here already.
uh-oh.
He will be anyhow.
The camera knows
he will
something
be
we don't.
anyhow.
Raised
They
to-
knew he was
Oh,
folding.
they knew he was heads up against Paul, so it just marks
Yeah.
a win right in the.
Yeah, the computer is self-aware now.
Got the AI going.
Yeah. So blinds are 500, 1,000 now. Action and button are on Mark Cucciarella.
With blinds at 5 and 1,000, the action should start forcing itself here pretty soon.
Robert gets a walk.
And Paul's very good at playing a point game,
Yes, he is.
week to week.
Because he'll make it
Right.
deep
He
very
wants to,
often.
and especially this time because he had, I'm sure wasn't happy with his finish last week. So he wants to balance
Why?
out. So unless he gets that premium pair, he's just going to hope these
I
two
draw a
knock each
mustache
other out.
on you, but it's already
And
there.
then,
Could put
And then try and battle
a
for that.
Christmas
Make it
hat.
look clean shaven.
There you go.
All off.
but it'll be 4-to-1 chip stacks or something at that point. If market.
Well, we were talking about that last week. Actually, I said, I mean, I like the way he's consistently like that, but sometimes he just lets himself go too far to where he gets a hand, he can't defend it.
Robert calls.
Right.
Cutrufella checks his option.
And so it'd be nice. I mean, I know we play the season for the bracelet with, if there was other thing on the line, like, Poker Superstars where you can win, they're playing for points for the long run, but
Right.
there's a chunk of money there to win. So you're not just sitting there playing points.
Yeah. Let's see, Mark here with a flush draw. He's going to bet and take it. Get the
Mark
big
bet
flush
1,000
draw.
and took it down.
Mark's starting to build up a pretty big chip lead here.
Yeah, it looks like about 33,000 in front of Mark.
Well, that would be good for me if he wins because he went out early. Speaking of playing the point game.
Mark with an ace here. I expect him to be raising. See if Rob tries to sneak in here.
Raised to 3,800.
Yeah, Rob sneaks in there with the Jack-9 on the button. And Mark lets the ace rag go. Moskowitz with the 4-6 suited. Once again, when he tanks this long, he almost always folds. So let's see what happens here.
Well, the problem is,
Paul folds. Buttons on Mark Cutrufella.
I don't know how many chips Paul has, but if he pushes there, he can play his image.
Well,
Rob's
exactly.
gonna have a lot of, but once he waits 10 seconds, forget it.
It looks about 8,200.
So Paul knows. I think he might make himself wait that long, and then say to himself, "Oh, I gotta fold now because it's taking too long."
I've played with Paul forever. Well, I won't say forever, but several years now, and he's been like that. Every time if he thinks long, he folds.
Mark raises to 2,500.
Mark button raising here. I think we're going to start
Takes it down.
seeing a lot more out of the Mark on that. When he's got the button, he's going to be raising a lot. As tight as these two. Especially Paul. He's down under 10 big blinds.
Yeah, I tried to take a few early on when Paul was in the big blind. I would raise.
Oh, yeah,
a couple.
absolutely.
But then it was, this is when we had the full table, but then Mark would come in behind me once in a while, and I think one time Paul did pick up a hand. And
Rob calls. Mark checks.
All right, we're going to see a flop and an unraised pot. 4-9 suited for Rob, and 5. Mark flops bottom pair
1,000 bet by Mark.
and takes it down.
Robert folds.
Yeah, when you're three-handed and you flop any pair, odds are you've got the best hand.
Robert to act first.
I just don't blame you.
I know.
Rob with Jack-3 on the button. Mark with King-7 suited.
I bet you get that all the time in your line.
I think we'll see him raise it up here.
It's always
It's
something.
never their fault.
Nope, just a call. Paul with 5-6 suited. Happy to see a flop. Oh,
this
wow.
could be trouble. Look at that.
Mark
Mark
with top
bets
pair and a
1,000.
nut flush.
He's gonna call. He's got.
Yeah.
We're even money pretty much.
Figure the math out here in a second. I don't know, I still gotta figure the math out, man.
Club and king, and he. There's a red card.
Five, 6,
Paul takes it down with 2 pair.
Wow.
Yeah, there's where I think if he'd have raised it up pre-flop, he would have taken it down. Instead, he lost it. Yeah.
Buttons move.
Top pair in a club draw. That's pretty good.
Yeah, you can't feel too bad to be in that situation though. You know, take down the blinds or knock Paul out with the situation.
Well, I would, in the situation he's in with the big chip lead, I'd just as soon just keep chipping away at him.
Right.
Just keep raising.
At
And
that point, it was a classic race. He had,
well, yeah, once you had the
It
flop.
had the top pair, and it was destined.
Oh, yeah, once we had the flop, I'm talking pre-flop, I would have liked to see him raise and just kind of keep chipping away at him.
Raised to 2,500 by Mark.
Now he goes back to the raising one button.
I mean, he could
And
almost put
Rob-
in a raise every time and just see what, until they get fed up.
Rob's going to call here, I think.
Robert calls.
Yeah. Rob's going to
Robert checks in the dark.
with a lot of hands.
What do you think of the dark check move?
Dark
2,000 bet
check,
by Mark.
I think it's the weakest move in poker.
Yeah.
I really do. It's just basically something somebody saw on TV and they think it's cool now, so they do it. You're just giving away so much advantage.
Right.
Action on Paul.
Mark with the best hand again. Let's see if he raises it up here.
Robert calls. Mark raises 3,000 on top. Robert lets it go.
I think Mark's pretty much got back what he lost to Paul now.
Start doing dealing with like blackjack until the deck's gone, then I'll show you. Imagine if they did that. You know how much it would change the game.
Yeah, remember back a couple
Well,
of
you wouldn't. But at the same time, you wouldn't know if people were mucking, so you really wouldn't know what the hell was still out there, what wasn't. Paul for 1,000, you won't have so much.
Mark with a king high here.
Robert calls. Mark calls.
Paul should be happy to see a flop with 2-4.
Paul checks.
Paul's always happy to see a flop for free. Who isn't though?
Big woo.
See, I would, if I had a limp on the button and a limp in the small blind, I'm raising 85% of the time with any two cards.
Mm-hmm.
Action over Robert, who checks. Jack of diamonds on the river.
That gives Rob Newman the best hand.
Is that Jack showing up on your end?
No, it is not.
I check, Robert.
Hit the jack. Isn't showing up.
Still nothing here.
It shows Robert is winning, so it's seeing it.
Oh, it's seeing it. It's just not popping up.
Well, that's because these two have already mucked.
Oh, yeah.
Robert takes it down, catching the jack for two pair.
Well, there was no jacks, so we had the high card.
Can't even find out.
King high, sounds good.
Let's see if Mark raises his button again.
Good hand, Robert.
Mark Jack first.
Rock that poker problems.
I wanted to find out.
7 minutes, 7 seconds left in the blinds. Blinds are 500, 1,000.
Well, I think Mark might let the 10-3 offsuit go. And Paul will let the king-3 go.
Won't even won't limp. I mean, he would have got.
Robert shows an ace.
All right, I'm gonna let you gents do your thing. Thanks
Well,
for having me. Hopefully next week.
Improve a little bit more next week. There you go. Well, thanks for coming.
All right, guys. Thanks.
Now that my microphone's on, you guys should be able to hear me.
That sounds way better.
Rob with the ace again.
Robert all in. Mark folds.
I did. I did 10. They were both black, to be honest. I didn't look.
Button moves over to Robert.
So ace 10. That was enough to
With that big a raise, if Rob wanted to call, the only thing that calls him crushes him.
You guys do know you're all the money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Paul with an ace 6. Mark with a queen jack. I think.
Raised to 3,000 by
I was
Mark.
going to say Mark's going to raise. I think Paul's going to raise. Call. Maybe raise.
Paul should definitely make a call here.
Oh, absolutely make a call. I wouldn't object to a raise as much as Mark's raising him. Uh-oh. He's going to let it go.
Paul folds.
He's playing for second place doing that.
Paul, my friend, you disappoint me a little bit.
A suited ace is so strong with three-handed.
Mark to act first. 4 minutes, 50 seconds left in the blinds.
Paul definitely picks his battles very well.
Mark with the ace on the button. He's going to raise. I think he'll get a call out of Rob, though, with Jack 10.
Paul folds. Robert raises.
No, just call.
No? Sorry. Robert just calls.
All the verbal bindings. Throw them out there, Rob. Gotta go 7.
He raises 0.
No, I'm gambling.
All in for Robert.
See, that's just such
Robert seems to be on a one
Well,
stroke
every time
game
he's-
here.
yeah.
Anytime he hits top pair, he's just push, push, push.
And he cost himself because Mark's going to continuation bet that flop such a huge percentage of the time.
Mark folds.
I mean, it may win him hands, but
He's costing
winning
himself a lot of chips.
A lot of chips that he could be making.
He's just not. I don't know. There seems to be no strategy to it.
Paul to act first.
And a walk for Mark with an 8 high. He's not going to mind that one bit.
You get little shit like that. I can't even get it like suited, so I could be like, all right.
He'll call with Jack 10, but not 3-4. He'll call a raise with Jack 10, but not limp in for half a bet for 3-4.
Well,
First act will be Robert.
we're trying
I'd
to
say
figure,
I'd say the odds are pretty much the same there, aren't they?
we're trying to get a rhyme or reason, however, it's just
Mark
not
calls.
always, it's not always there.
Paul checks. Paul bets 2,000.
Moskowitz with a stone cold bluff with the deuce 4.
Are they still talking in there, or they fall asleep with this excitement?
Watching Robert's game, we would definitely
there's a whole bunch
fall
of moaning.
asleep
I don't know
because
what
he's
it is.
very predictable with his all-in plays. When one hits top pair, one moves all in.
Jams in, stands up. At least he finally did it without aces, though. Let's see if Mark's going to raise the button here. 'Cause I think
Mark raises to 3,000.
he might get called here by Rob with 3-5. Oh, absolutely, because he
Robert
was
calls.
just whining about wanting the suited cards to call.
Robert checks.
Robert misses anything. without
See, once again,
hesitation.
that right there. See how Mark bet? And Mark would have absolutely bet on that other one, too.
That's what we call a one-trick pony.
I think he went up first. No. Bed did. Yeah. Robert machine.
It's working for him tonight, though.
That was crazy.
1 minute left in the blinds.
Pocket ace. And he had ace king.
Blinds currently are 501,000. They will raise to 600, 1,200.
That's a nice kicker.
Yeah. It made him feel better. I think, didn't he catch his ace on the river too?
Oh, he didn't have an ace.
No, when Ed had ace
Mark with the
king
king
back.
9.
I'd like to see Paul come with a button raise since he's played so tight.
It might take it down. I think if he did, I think Mark would fold the king 9.
Oh, yeah, there was only king high on
Right. That's what he hit his king. And I had pocket aces. That's
Oh, shit, but there's no ace on the river.
I thought an ace hit the river.
It's on Rob with the 4-8. And
Robert
he
folds.
gives Mark another walk.
Well, last hand with the cheeky.
Button on Robert. Last hand at 500 to 1,000.
110, 220.
110,
Rob with the button with an ace 5. All in.
Robert all in.
Mark folds. Moskowitz
Love
got
to see
ace
Paul
7.
call here.
He's got to call this. Is the way he's been playing. And no. What's he waiting for? You can't get ace king, ace queen every time.
It was hard to make a stand with an ace and a weak kicker.
Well, three-handed. You
Blinds are
just
up
got to go
612.
with it.
Buttons on Mark.
I mean, it's just the math alone.
Paul definitely has to take a stand somewhere.
Robert gets a walk.
He has to take some blind. I mean, I think his hope is to let Mark and Robert battle it out and see what happens, but that's not going to win you poker tournaments.
He's probably down to where he was before he doubled up.
I'll tip you for you over 10 again.
Maybe even lower.
He looks to be at about 8,000 or 9,000.
Maybe a little bit more then.
Paul with the best hand. See a button raise out of him.
Let's just hope trains over here.
Oh, he's never going to raise with queen 5. after
Paul folds.
ace 7.
I'm not complaining, I'm just
But
tired.
Rob's going to raise with 10-4 here.
Right now, I'm winding down.
Raise to
And Mark's gonna
3,600.
Fold 4-9.
Absolutely nothing.
Just to wake up.
94.
Buttons on Robert.
Paul with ace 9 and Rob with ace 10.
39.
Raised to 3,900 by Robert.
All right. Now this is only marginally better than what he had before.
However, he had the best hand
Yeah.
before.
Let's see what he does here.
27
With him
for
just raising this time instead
Paul
of
Nicole.
moving all in.
The golf ball comes off.
Yeah, he's folding.
Paul folds.
With big ace.
What'd you call him?
Button on Mark.
If you shove, I think I had a big ace.
I heard big ass.
I that too. Did you have king queen?
Mark with the button here. Paul with 10s. Mark
This
with
is-
king 9.
This is exactly what
Yeah.
Paul hopes to see. He gets a raise out of Mark.
Now he shoves in.
Mark raises to 37. Moskowitz all in.
36, 36. You're looking at like 7 more.
Yeah.
7,000 on
Mark's
top.
not going to call that. He's going to let that go. Yeah, he'd call a lot of people with that, but
And Paul shows. Definitely shows that he's waiting for the best hand.
Button is on Paul.
You have a little bit less call.
I'm working on it. I think if your 9 was something bigger, you make the call.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, 3-handed.
Yeah.
King 9's a monster. Pair of 10's dead. He's big.
see Paul with Queen 4 suited folds. Rob with a king in the small blind, King 3 off. Let's see what he does. He probably going to.
Robert calls. Mark checks his option.
Check
Mark
the
flops bottom pair.
Let's see if Mark
Both players check.
does anything with this hand.
Good.
And the 2 wins. Hey, I think it was just too scary a flop, and with 3 overs out there, just check it down, see if you win.
Button moves to Robert. 13 minutes left in the blinds. Blinds are 600, 1200.
Muck. Or something that rhymes with that.
Mark calls.
I don't think Mark will ever give up his small blind here
Paul checks his option.
without a raise against Paul.
Played double lots of last year.
Both players check. Mark bets 1,000.
1,200.
Oh, 1,200.
Paul with 8-9, pretty much going to have to let this go.
I mean, I didn't have that beat.
I bet you had 2 overs.
I'm sure he had an over.
I moved it.
An over.
Button on Mark.
Uh-oh. Mark on the button with 2s. Moskowitz with jacks, and Rob with ace-10.
Can't get a count on balls.
Mark raises to 4,000. It looks like, is Paul all in?
I'm all in.
Paul is all in. 14? 14-2.
Maybe you can just sit back and get huge pairs. I never can, I know that.
Robert calls.
Fold my deuces.
Nice hand, Paul.
Yeah. Rob's been running really good in these when he gets them in this bad. So
Paul is
let's
at
see
risk.
what happens.
Go out with something.
He's been running amazingly well.
Nice hand.
Yeah, but not that.
Paul doubles up.
Sometimes it pays to be patient.
That's what I just said. I can't believe it.
Made that call.
I'm glad you did. I was going to call you. But I didn't want to with my deuces.
Good pocket deuces?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad it didn't get to Mark then because that,
Button is on Robert.
Nice hand, Paul.
that's not the hand I want to be calling Moskowitz
Trying to catch
with.
ball and
Deuces.
mess with him. I guess he's too busy stacking. You were a big ball. I went.
Robert is all in.
All in, ball in.
Well, Paul should make the call here no matter what he's got.
Robert's all in blind.
1,000 straight. Well, I know we got to make it.
There's the 12, so I got
Yeah.
14. or a 16.
Paul should call here, no matter what two cards he has, to try and knock Rob out.
It's 12 to call, Paul. Calls. You're actually all in 16. Four more. All 4 more.
Mark calls the 16.
Right.
No, well, he's all in. He was doing it all in for dark.
14 total. Oh,
16 total.
yeah. I'm sorry.
But it's 12 to call.
Paul calls.
All right.
Right, 'cause he still has that.
Right.
We got Rob all in for 16 with Paul and Mark calling.
No, Mark.
Did you look, Robert?
I did.
Right.
Rob has a 10-7 offsuit.
Check.
I'm checking. What was that last hand, right?
Yeah, no shit.
There you go, boys.
And Rob's out.
Show me some winners here.
Queen high.
Queen high's looking good. King high
And
is
Paul
outstanding.
takes it down with the king.
King
Four
high.
cards straight, though. Does that count?
That's good.
Robert out in third place.
Milman, nice seeing you again, buddy.
Nothing worse than going out 20 minutes into Walking Dead.
Your DVR.
Can we get a chip count on the two players?
Looks like Paul has Mark at least 2-1.
18-1, and he got the rest.
18-1 for Mark.
Oh, whatever. 18-7.
18-7 for Mark.
35-6.
About 2-1 then.
2-1. I like my chance.
What do you have?
18 plus.
I like your chances too, Mark. But the way Paul's been, he's just been patient and then getting the huge hands when he needs them.
First act will be Mark.
Start with you. And you'll be second act up.
Mark with a 7-deuce offsuit. I see him calling. Maybe even raising.
Raised to 4,000.
And Paul with the king 6 is going to let it go. I'd like to welcome Rob to the studio.
Thank you, I think.
You think?
I'd much rather still be out there. I didn't put Paul on a pocket pair that big. I thought I might have worse 2 overs, or maybe he had like ace-jack or something like that, and it was more of a 50-50 race.
Paul's been very patient again tonight.
Paul raises
And
to
he's
3,000.
raising it up here with 6-7 suited. He's not done that maybe twice all night. He did it quite often last week.
Mark calls.
And Mark calls with the 2-4 offsuit. Paul going to c-bet here?
I think he has to.
Well,
Paul bets 4,000.
That's
Mark
never
lets it go.
stopped Paul from not doing something.
That's true.
Because that one hand you shoved with ace rag, he had a bigger ace.
That's what I figured. When he was thinking and thinking and thinking, I was
And
like,
then,
oh,
and then the
please
next
don't
time
call.
when you shoved with ace 10, or raised with ace 10, he had ace 9.
Mark tack first.
Yeah, the time before, he had you beat.
Yeah. Well, he was big blind in the one hand, and he was getting 4-1 on his money, and he still folded.
I could not believe he folded an ace there. Let's see if Mark continues his pattern of raising his button here.
I think I'm away now. So
No, just calls. Let's see what Paul does.
Going on.
Paul raises.
22 on top.
Moskowitz continuing to get hit with the deck.
Good raise. Squat.
Moskowitz with the button.
I don't think it'll be long before Mark gets it all in here.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, he's still got enough chips to make it hurt.
Paul calls. Mark checks his option.
Mark checks with ace jack.
That's begging for somebody to catch something.
No, he didn't check.
Oh,
Mark,
oh,
I'm
he
sorry.
did not check.
Yep.
Okay.
Mark raises 2,500.
Quarter one Paul.
And Paul with 3-5 offsuit.
It's a good situation that Paul can let this one go.
Yeah.
Paul folds.
The whole time,
I was very surprised there when they said Mark check.
when I check,
Yeah, I couldn't believe he would check that. Because then you're just begging for that 3 or 5 to hit.
and the actions, the dealer says, Paul, it's on you, and I'm like, the next thing I know, the action's moving down the table, and I'm like, I bet. He goes, you check. I'm like, I didn't check. He goes, you nod your head. I'm like, yeah, but I tap the table every time I
You're
check.
right.
I was acknowledging that it was my turn.
You did that tonight too, and he said it was on you, and you did that, and I was wondering if he thought that was a check.
Yeah, but I always
It's a hand gesture or a verbal announcement?
Big blind, Paul.
Tell me first.
Mark with the Jack 6
I've
suited.
caught people that
Paul
will
with
sit
the
there and
King
be on this
9.
number like they're thinking, and I'll move on.
I saw
No, that's
Bobby
a check.
doing it
That's
earlier.
a check.
3 straight.
I don't care whether you know what's going on.
Mark
That's
raises it up.
3,000
Paul
and
calls.
correct.
Especially if you're playing in a place like this or some of the other places. You should know what the deal is.
It just ticked me off though that he.
And Mark will continuation bet.
I didn't check.
Mark bets 2,500.
It's all hand gestures.
And Paul folds.
Especially when it comes to a check.
Surprised me that.
See, that's a couple times you surprised me tonight. As aggressive as Mark is, especially the one hand you called with Jack 10 and then just shoved right off the bat.
Yeah,
You cost yourself a lot of
I think
chips
so.
there.
Against
There was a
him,
few
he was
hands
playing
tonight.
I mean, every time I go up there, I get some lady who's
You
got
lead right out.
deal for big.
Yeah.
She can't separate.
Especially a player like him. You give him a chance to hang himself, he's going to bet at you.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm not saying no, but it's just.
Action on Paul.
Paul with the Queen Deuce suited. Let's see what he does here. He's hesitating. He's folding.
Paul folds.
You see him bulk like that 2 or 3 times, and he calls. You just raise him, and he'll get out.
Mm-hmm.
He gives himself away a lot like that.
That auto shuffler.
Next to
Sold it.
Yeah, I was really hoping when
Remember that one we had?
Paul and Mark were heads up and Paul were really pulling for Mark because I did not want to see Paul get chipped.
It's
So,
pretty loud.
I mean, we were both about even, and that would have taken him out, and I would have much rather ended up heads up with Mark than still playing 3-way with Paul in there.
Cards aren't showing up.
Cards are not showing up.
There we go. Mark raises
Okay, there
with
you
a
go.
Queen Jack, and Paul's got a Queen 6.
3,100 is the raise by Mark.
Paul gonna. He calls.
Call by Paul.
Well, Paul better not. If they flop a queen here, Mark could double up.
Paul, so will you.
Both players check.
Paul.
Check to him twice. Mark's gonna bet.
Mark bets 3,000. Paul folds. 1 minute left at 600, 1,200 blinds.
Can we go 8-16 next time? And the basic maybe 2 games.
A good thing about a night like tonight, where all the guys that were out first ended up the final 4,
Yeah.
kind of keeps the points close and
Yeah, absolutely.
keeps things interesting, even if it's only 2 games in.
Paul with Ace King here. He's gonna raise it up, and
Raised to 3,600 by Paul.
he might get some action. Yeah.
Mark calls.
I actually like the call. Heads up. I don't like folding
Another
too much
500,
heads
yeah.
up.
2 players. Mark to act first.
2 players.
And Paul flops the ace, of course.
$3,600 bet by Paul. Mark lets you go.
It's already up.
I believe believe the blinds just went up, right?
Yep, blinds are 800, 1600.
Yeah, Mark's gonna have to get going now. He's getting close to 10 blinds.
Yeah, he's gonna have to make a move.
Button is on Mark. I think.
16, dude.
Yep.
Mark with an ace here.
I'll show you a runner here.
Paul with king 6 off.
Call by Mark.
Can you hear what's coming out of his?
Shouldn't be able to.
Mark just calls the button with ace deuce suited.
Check, right?
Paul checks with king 6. Mark's
Both
got a
players check.
draw.
Paul's got a draw.
Now Paul's got a draw and he's betting it.
2,500 bet by Paul.
Mark showed some weakness and Paul took advantage of it here. Mark's very good at figuring these things out.
Mark calls.
And Mark got there. Let's see if Paul bets again, bluff. 'Cause Mark just hit the wheel.
Mark's gonna raise.
Paul bets
Oh, he's got
4,200.
Immediately.
Yeah, there's only 2 hands he's scared of here, so he's got to raise. 2, 6, and 6, 7.
Paul getting some action under the table.
Mark
Mark's
all in.
all in, Paul
There you
folds.
go, Mark.
Paul folds.
Get you straight. Again.
He hit it straight, but he was good till then.
Paul apparently is not used to the rough stuff.
Yeah, Mark is. I wasn't sure if you had a straight draw or a flush draw going.
Yes. For sure.
Well, it had to be the straight.
Action will be on Paul first.
Paul with 4-9 off, and I think Mark would have raised there with king queen.
Yep. Well, guys, it's been fun. Thanks for having me in.
Well, thanks for stopping by.
See you guys next week.
Thanks for chatting. I'll see you.
Paul, now that we're close to even, you want to chop the money and play for points?
You don't like it rough?
Think about it.
What's the
There's 330.
330, yeah. There's 300 in there.
I call.
It's 150 feet.
Yeah, I will.
It's 165 feet.
Wait a minute, wait a
Did
minute.
you check your option?
I did not, yeah.
Oh,
Okay,
thought you
I
said-
call. It's your option.
Okay, I thought you
Alright,
said
I
that.
checked.
Okay. I thought you said
No,
I
actually,
thought
I
you
was
were talking
talking to you.
about
Yeah, sorry. Sorry about that.
Mark with the 3-6, Paul with a
Okay
4-8.
is considered a check from someplace.
Mark's
You and I
flop
are
2
good.
pair.
Yeah. We'll chop.
Paul has an open-ended straight draw. They've just agreed to chop and play for the points.
Paul bets 2,600. 13 minutes, 30 seconds left in the blinds.
3 more.
3 on top.
And Paul is absolutely going to call with a straight draw.
Paul calls.
And he's gotten there all night. And he doesn't.
You're all in?
Mark goes
Paul
all
checks.
in.
Mark goes all in.
You're in the draw.
Yeah, I'm not.
And Mark makes a great read that Paul's on the draw.
Open-ended, I mean.
Wow.
Okay.
I'm really impressed. Mark let out.
Want to rabbit hunt that?
Check for the bet about. I'll allow it.
And Mark would have held up for the win.
Oh, did it show it? That's cool.
Oh, what did it show? Another 9? I needed a.
Button is on Paul.
I am 8.
Is there more than a 1-point differential for first and second?
There's 3.
Oh yeah, you changed that, didn't you?
Paul with the better hand, slightly.
There was always a bigger
Wow.
Afraid to play his
I
button.
think
I think it was 4 point plus.
was it we wanted to introduce an odd number for first place so that it would lessen the amount of ties.
Hey, Robert. Introduce an odd number for what?
So it lessen the chance of a tie.
Oh. Alright.
Well, then you should only give like a half a point for like 10 points. Give him like
The dealer who's been here
Kick 'em
one
while they're
time,
down.
trying to, throw in some input.
Negative. You get a negative.
Yeah, you
one.
get. There you go.
Call.
You get a negative point.
Alright, I'm gonna check.
Mark with the queen 3 just calls. Paul with 5-6 checks his option.
Check.
Paul checks middle pair.
Mark bets 2,000 and a call by Paul.
Mark flops top pair.
Check.
That might slow the action down a little bit. Mark might be worried. Paul's going to make a bet here, and he may get
3,000
called.
bet by Paul.
He's going to get
And a
called.
call by Mark.
Pair of sixes and 7 queens. So
He just didn't bet enough if he wanted to try and win that pot. There was too much out there to fold.
Uh-oh. Trouble in River City.
Button right.
I thought the River City was Pittsburgh.
Button's on Paul. Is the button right?
I was small.
He was just small.
Mark's been playing really well since he got to 3-handed.
Rational.
Even at 4-handed.
Paul folds. Mark takes it down. 10 minutes left in the blinds.
What's Paul down to now?
Paul, can I get a count?
Not enough. Versus more.
Too much about it.
82 back.
Right around 10
Okay.
with the blindness in there.
All in.
Mark's all in.
Mark definitely putting the pressure on.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard to play, so they can at least call.
You know what, dude? It's heads up. You're definitely live, dude. Get him in there.
He's got about
No
6 or
comments
7.
from the dealer, please.
Alright.
Yeah, tell Brandon he shouldn't be saying anything.
What the hell?
I have to now. I mean, I don't have any chips.
What, this way,
Well, you should have.
you got chips. You
thought
got
of
enough
that
blinds.
before.
I ain't gonna lie to you. You got 5 blinds left, but there's not a whole lot of chips in play total. You know what I'm saying?
See, Mark can fold.
Paul calls. Mark checks his option.
All right, we got Deuce 6 suited against Jack 8 offsuit.
Mr. C.
And Mark flops bottom pair.
Mark bets 2,000.
I'm assuming that's full.
Paul will fold.
That too, buddy.
You and your goddamn team.
Choose a baby.
Dude, they're monsters. Yeah, exactly. They're getting you paid. I'll tell you that.
Alright, this will be over soon, boys.
Well, right about now is when Paul's been picking up the big pocket pairs against
Or you're
Mark's
gonna like
raise.
go up twice in a row, and then he's gonna go up twice in a row.
Every time he gets down about this far,
I think it's just
gets
gonna be
jacks
like
or
5,000,
10s.
10,000. You guys are just all in blind, period. We'll just do it turn.
Action on Mark to start.
I'm not giving you 2 cards just like I'm
Paul with
giving
an ace 4 are going to go all in here, I would have bet.
you.
If Mark,
Just like I'm giving him.
Mark doesn't give it to him.
But I don't know that.
Mark calls.
Mark calls, which gives Paul the option to see a flop, and he takes his option.
Oh my. You got to be kidding me. How do you not go all in there?
Like that.
I just,
There you go, boy. Mr. Moskowitz.
All in.
That's the wrong freaking suit.
At
Bright color.
I guess it's been hard.
Mark takes it
Look
down.
at the announcer's favorite hand.
And I think the downside to Paul right now is that he has so little chips that even if he moves all in, Mark will call.
With the queen six, I think he might have folded there though.
No,
really
I think Paul has probably around 4,000 to 8,000 when there's 60,000 or so in play. Mark has 50, 52. I do believe he will double up Paul at least once or
He's
twice.
definitely going to double him up here.
Paul is all in. And a
Double
call.
him up or knock him out.
Pocket threes versus ace three.
Mark did in fact call. His hand, however, did hit the muck.
2, 4, 5.
Reset that because you actually.
So we will try this
He
again.
have a 3 in.
They're showing.
Yeah, I know. Well, he mucked his hand first. I had to pull him.
Oh, he won.
Okay, so I said call.
I'm just kidding.
2 aces, I'm reading.
Hungry.
2
Some options.
Deuce or ace. Deuce or
This
ace.
guy has deuces over here.
Alright, what is that?
And Paul doubles up.
5,000 straight.
Yeah, every time Paul gets down, he gets a pair, doubles up, flops 2 pair, doubles up.
That was a favorable flop there too. Give you a couple more outs.
Yep.
But Mark will never fold it with that stack. Never fold any ace to him.
Heads up, and he's got one out. It's just like craziness.
One of your out. You don't need it out. You're ahead, Paul.
Stupid game. I don't know why people play this game.
Paul with a jack 10. Mark with a jack 3.
Mark calls.
Do it again.
Paul is all
I
in.
think Mark can get away from it. Yep.
With the 3 kicker, it's definitely okay. Doubling up once. Now you can pick a slightly better position and go back to whittling him down.
Trap ball here. You always trap him.
Well,
Dealer button is on, Paul.
I mean, I don't have enough chips to trap or anything. I'm either going to have some cards or not.
Paul with a 9-5 suited. Mark with ace 10, and Paul folds.
I don't play garbage, man.
I don't understand. Heads up, there really isn't a garbage hand.
Button is on Mark.
7 and shit.
4 minutes, 55 seconds left in the blinds.
I raised the 5 and only 7 deuce.
And?
Our very first heads up hand.
When you folded,
7, 2 of hearts, I think.
He probably doesn't beat. Seriously.
No, I think you folded an ace to him, Paul. All right. Mark with 8-6, Paul with 8-4.
Mark calls 1600.
Wait, did I?
yeah, you're shy.
I screwed up.
Take that one. Auto,
And I can check.
auto 400. Reaching. On your call.
Alright, it's on me. Jack.
Mark's going to bet, yeah.
There you go.
Mark throws
Just,
chips out there.
Whittling away a game at this point.
Oh, absolutely. That's about the 4th time Paul's been whittled down and then doubled up and then whittled down. Pretty soon he's not going to win that all in. Paul with queen 9.
I think Paul's waiting for Mark.
Paul is all in.
All right, there he goes. I like that.
Good hand for Mark to get away from.
Yeah.
More respect for Paul than that.
Mark folds.
9 deuce? I earn respect when you had 9 deuce?
Well, I'm sure
I don't know if I
I'm
have
live
to
there.
take that as a compliment.
I'm sure I'm live there.
Yeah, Mark has no reason, I mean, to get in with a hand like
Deuce
that.
was definitely live, right, Paul?
Deuce probably going to be the card that took me down. I mean,
One has been.
was I?
There's no reason right now he needs to play a huge pot.
Buttons right.
I thought I had
Buttons
16.
right.
When Paul wants to get all the chips in, if Mark
Button is
doesn't
on
have
Mark.
a big hand, there's really no reason until he whittles him down again.
I'll make mistakes, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Mark is all in. Paul folds.
I'm not even sure the all-in bet's the right play there. Just a raise.
He definitely wants Paul to have to commit his
Yeah.
chip stack. It's
Button is on Paul.
I could do this right now.
Paul's got the button with a 10-8. Mark with a 2-4.
Not that one.
And Paul lets it go.
I had a deuce, I was calling. Poor dealer.
You're the only person I don't like heads up. Dealing for.
Thank you, Brandon.
I'm just saying. I'm like, you're an excellent player.
That's
You really
so
are.
heartfelt.
You are an excellent player. Just to be honest, though, I fucking hate dealing when your heads up.
Well, did you look over there? He happens to be a very good player too.
I know, but this is the first.
this
time
is this is why Train doesn't speak during dealing.
What shenanigans you're folding? Don't take your chips all night. I know he
Mark
will.
calls.
Jack.
Paul checks his option.
I want my
Oh,
chip.
yeah, well, you get it.
No, I want it now.
Oh, you can fucking get it.
I want my chip stack too.
Oh, there's no more.
I want my chip stack.
Paul flops top pair.
And Mark
See if he
missed a
can-
raise pre-flop.
See if he can check and let Mark bet here.
Paul is all in.
4 more behind.
In 1 minute, blinds will be up.
Mark knows he misplayed that hand.
Is that being changed?
He let the 7 deuce beat him.
Oh, it's yours. Yeah.
There's a break after this. You want to take it in 45 seconds or keep
It depends on if you need to back up your stuff. If you
I don't need
don't
to
need to back it up.
We should be okay.
I mean, I just need 10 seconds to get water.
Take a small break then. We don't have to take the.
I don't
15
need to
minutes.
take a break though.
No, I know. I think we got some like drink into it. I guess take like 45 minutes so we can come back.
See what Paul does here.
I think he's probably going to move in.
Paul is
Yeah.
all in. And we have a call.
You gotta put it
And Mark calls.
Put your cards right here. Put your cards right here.
That's a muck.
No shit, he just did his too.
Oh.
Put them on there. I'll pull them back.
I don't like it when they put him there.
Mark called with the 10-7. I'm a little surprised there.
All right, here we go.
10-7 or 8. 10-7 or 8. Oh. Alright, I tried.
Paul gets a double up.
Yeah.
We are on break. Chris, you may want to just hit pause on the Adobe Flash, and then
What are we doing?
you can go ahead and stop the recording for Ustream.
I think Mark might have got a
Beautiful.
little impatient there.
And we'll be back in a couple minutes. Not a full 10-minute break.
I did this air message. That was so very sweet of you. I offered
Yeah, I don't know why. Maybe it's because the pillows on there. You're doing some magic on me, buddy.
Yeah, but the dealer really shouldn't be.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's a countersign game.
Bullshit.
Oh, you should go
Oh,
over there.
you
You
should
should
go
go
over
over
there.
there.
You got so many hands, you play heads up. You should go all in, blah, 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 blah.
You go back and listen to that several times. You did. Did I go? Yeah.
called it in like 4 or 5 times.
Really?
Yeah.
No, my opinion is true.
Well, I didn't think it was, but I just.
I'm not looking at his hands, but I know he's folding, king eights and queen, whatever the hell he's got to be, and he's like, man, heads up, dude. You give me a face card heads up. It's gonna work a little bit. I told him, who the hell's the player? Here he is. Heads up. He's just, dude. Oh, I know. You already agreed. I understand about your points. I told him that. But, dude.
Well, there's one.
Cards in the deck, and there's four.
There's one thing he's.
Being dealt.
I even said last week. No matter what anybody says, he's bound in a tournament to play his style most of the time.
That's fine. No, that's
Yeah.
cool though. It's good. It's consistent.
Yeah, but like I said, after you said something, he was getting in several hands that I wouldn't normally think he would.
Well, 5-6. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
Played that, but three-handed suited 5-6 when it's a little out of character, but hey, maybe he's trying to take a shot. Maybe it was me saying something. I don't know.
Tonight he tightened it up. The last few weeks he's been playing. I've been playing with him a lot. Been sitting next to him. He was mixing it up a lot. He did it last time too, and he busted out early.
Maybe it didn't work for him. So
Yeah.
He get knocked out early last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
About 40 to 20. 40,000, 20,000.
So we're just about where we started. Just
Wanted to
the
stay
shape
where
one
we
chair.
This probably makes it easy for you to
What?
All right, we're coming back from break.
Actually, it'd be a lot easier. For
We are heads up between Paul Moskowitz and Mark Cutrufella.
I'm just saying, it's easier if I can just sit here and go on 2-1-2 instead of.
Blinds are 1,000, 2,000.
And we are back.
All right, blinds are 1,000, 2,000. We got Mark with about 40,000 and Paul with about 20,000. I really expect this to be the last level, as high as the blinds are.
We will definitely see what happens. The aggression seems to be prevailing from Mark.
Clock is going.
However, if Paul catches 2 or 3 hands, or doubles up once, it's a completely different race.
Raised to 5,000 by Mark.
I see Paul folding his hand with deuce 4 offsuit.
Mark fold or Chris.
Paul
folds. That guy over there folds.
Somebody folds.
I was actually trying to figure out what I would have done in that position.
Well, Paul and I do share the same haircut, so I see how you can get us confused.
Seems to be the popular style going around here lately.
Yeah, put 1,000 out there. You won't have to.
If they were suited, maybe.
Paul with the jack 5 of hearts. Mark with 7 deuce offsuit.
I'd love to see Paul
Paul
start
calls.
making some button raises here.
See, he made a couple of them. And now he stopped again.
But he tends to only make them when he has big hands.
Did you act?
That's 2,000 from Mark.
2,500.
Mark
This one I
leads
heard you
out
say- I
with
thought I heard
deuce
you
7 offsuit.
Well,
Just shows you the power of aggression.
it's not necessarily the power of aggression.
Well, I mean-
it's the fact that Paul Moskowitz really doesn't want to play a hand unless he has something. The rate of Paul's bluffs can probably be counted on one hand. It's 1, maybe 2 a night.
Action on Mark.
You gotta give it to Mark. They might get it all in here.
6 total.
Raised to 6,000 by Mark.
I don't know. Paul's got ace rag. He hasn't liked to get it in with ace rag. He's just like to call.
I think a good play would be for Paul to move all in
Yeah,
here.
that's
4,000 for you to call.
It's the only play really with ace rag. You can take it down right there.
He's going to commit a big part of his
Paul
stack
calls.
just to see a
Now,
flop.
if he doesn't flop an ace or a flush, Mark's going to take it away from him. We don't have the flop back here.
No flop.
Are both their cards reading?
Yes.
Yes.
It's weird. 5 of spades, 4 of clubs, 9 of diamonds. Hit the flop.
Wow.
Paul went all in.
Paul went all in with second pair.
That is weird.
That's an applauded play from the booth.
I'm impressed. I did not think he would do that.
What's wrong?
Not reading the flop.
Slight technical difficulties.
You try resetting if
Should
you
we
want.
pause?
No,
Are they saying in there didn't read it?
they couldn't see. They could see. your
Yeah, it
cards.
doesn't come up on the screen back there.
All right, the cards are red,
Okay.
and the flop should hit.
No dice. Let's just go on with the next hand and see if it's another set. See if it
See
just
if that
might be the way
continues that
those
way.
cards are. Paul did win that hand with an all-in. Sorry for the confusion. Maybe add a minute to the blinds.
14 minutes, 20 seconds left in the blinds.
Paul with 10-7 suited just limps. Mark with 7-4, willing to let it go.
Paul definitely wants the other player to make a mistake. They both flop sevens here.
Mark bets 2,500. Paul calls.
I think if we see another bet out of Mark here, he's going to take this down.
Jack of spades on the turn.
I would love to see Mark bet now.
Mark
Paul,
checks, which probably should open the door for Paul.
Paul bets 4,000.
I think Mark is definitely starting to give Paul some credit and realizes that he's really only playing bigger hands.
right now they're chopping.
Mark folds.
Good play if you didn't have.
They ought to be close to even, or Moskowitz might have the lead now.
Looks pretty even. Action on Mark first.
Mark with the ace.
You want to chip black off? You want to chip black off or not?
Sure.
I'm thinking Mark.
6 straight.
Raise to 6,000 by Mark. Paul folds.
And an ace Paul.
They're almost to the point where any raise is such a big percentage of the stack, they might as well just go all in.
Exact.
Paul to act first.
I think Paul will raise it here. And Mark will fold.
Raise to 5,000 by Paul.
Well, maybe not.
Call by Mark.
Mark's willing to see some flops with less than premium hands.
I wonder if the ace scares Paul here.
Mark checks.
I don't think so. I think he's going to bet.
5,000 is the bet by Paul.
I wish Mark could check raise there. Had it set Paul spinning so fast. But you got to give Paul the respect when he hasn't gotten out of line too much.
He hasn't come in with mediocre hands. He's waited for the nuts, and it's got him the chip lead right now.
Yeah, Mark's going to have to get it all in here. And if he does it here, it's
Action on Mark.
Paul's folding no matter what, I think.
6 straight.
Raise to 6,000 by
Train, I
Mark.
wanted to limp in for you, buddy. I wanted to limp in for you, buddy.
Button is on Paul. Paul to act
Always
first.
over here, if you're at.
When in doubt.
When in doubt, just
Put it
move
down.
over
Yeah,
here.
put it in front of Paul. We're good. 9 people playing. Put it in front of Paul. I don't know.
Not sure where it goes. Here, just put it.
I really think Mark's call with the 10-7 against Paul is going to come back and hurt him here. It's looking like. I think he just got a little bit too impatient.
Paul raises to
Didn't need
4,000.
Didn't need to play that big pot.
Paul min raises here.
Mark calls.
Oh,
9 minutes, 15 seconds left in the blinds.
Mark with the gut shot here.
I would like to see a bet here.
4,000 bet by Mark.
Paul with just 2 overs. Once again, when he goes in the tank this long, very seldom seen him make the call.
Paul folds.
I'm going to start raking all the pots. 1,500 a hand.
8 minutes, 20 seconds left in the blinds.
Probably should force an ante right around, I don't know, 6-8 with $100 ante.
Probably should do.
Paul with ace-9 suited, Mark with an 8-5. Paul will be raising up here.
Mark called, and Paul Moskowitz raised 3,000 on top.
I think we'll see Mark make a call here.
Mark calls.
I mean, I didn't hit last time, so I probably won't hit this time.
Somebody that's complaining about not hitting. He's got the nut flush draw here. And he's hit cards all night.
Mark checks.
Check.
Paul checks. Both players check.
Wow. If Mark,
And Mark
oh,
gets there with a 5.
Paul left so many opportunities get away there. He might put a value bet in here.
I have 5.
Really? I knew I should.
That's a big trap, man.
Mark takes it down.
A value, what, pocket 6 down.
Take it down with the boom.
Board. We're going downhill.
Kill your Ross. River, 2s
I
and
played
5s,
that.
whatever it takes.
Stupid.
Would you have like 3s or something?
Well, at least Paul realizes he misplayed that hand.
You gotta raise it.
I played that really poorly.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Action on Paul.
Paul with another ace.
Paul calls.
Just limps.
Oh my god.
Is Mark going to raise here?
Mark raises 4,500 on top.
Paul needs to go all in here. But
I think he lets it go.
he's folding.
He looks.
Yeah. He's folding.
Yep.
Paul folds.
Still tilting on that hand.
And the chip lead goes back to Mark.
Yeah.
And Brandon knows that Paul should have went all in there.
So this is Paul Musquith's tilted? Never seen it before.
His heart rate went up.
See how he leans to the left?
3 beats a minute, he's like,
From 60 to 63.
Action on Mark. Calls.
We got Jack 3 versus 10.
Paul
Paul
checks
pay
his option.
attention. Mark has definitely slowed down when he has absolutely nothing on the button.
Both players check.
Oh, Mark with an open end straight draw now.
3,000 bet by Paul. And a call. Paul
Well,
checks.
we try to represent the flush draw here. With Paul just having second pair. No.
Yeah, I wasn't good.
I even gave you your 2 on the river, dude. Come on.
4 minutes, 40 seconds left in the blinds.
That's what I'm going to do every time.
No.
Every time it's heads up here, the button's over here, I'm going to go like this. I'm going to take it, over here, and go right there like that.
Oh, I wonder if Paul did if I fired 7K out there.
I'm still tilting on that other hand. I'm so mad.
Well, what'd you have it? I mean, you're not on there.
You want me to tell you?
Paul Moskowitz saying that he's angry.
That flush draw on flop.
Couldn't tell by looking
Yeah,
at him.
just give me
That's why I'm kicking myself.
Paul's tilt's a lot lighter than most
No, I
people's.
mean, it's
Well,
hard.
1,000 for the one.
Paul with a jack deuce gonna let it go, yeah.
And Paul folds.
I know it's somebody's favorite hand, but it's not mine.
Action will be on Mark.
That 5 hit on that hand. And I didn't look real close. When I mucked my cards, I thought, shit, I hope that wasn't a club.
Mark with a queen jack. He's gonna be raising this up on the button.
6.
Raised to 6,000 by
Paul
Mark.
with a king 6 offsuit is probably gonna let it go. When the mathematical odds are that he's gonna have the best hand with a king high.
Couple of
Paint.
Paul to act first. 3 minutes left in the blinds.
Because I
That's
fold.
because I don't know any better, that's
Are you raising in the blind?
all. Shroud.
A game?
What time is it right now?
When was the NBA All-Star game? Was that
Today.
now or-
Couple minutes, yeah.
Oh, I thought it was
You guys have been playing heads up for 35
They did not.
really?
Mark with an ace 5, Paul with a 10-5. Paul's probably gonna fold.
An ace.
I know, that's how Brandon does it. He gives me crap over and he gives you an ace. That's why I refuse to bluff.
So anybody that's still watching, there is a game going on right now at the Hog Wild Poker League. We run a game that starts at 10 o'clock, and you can win Chase the Bracelet prizes and paraphernalia. So if you get a chance, go on over there.
We here at Chase the Bracelet love our paraphernalia.
They make great candles.
Uh-oh. This is gonna be a big hand.
This should be an all in hand here.
This should be the end of it.
Paul Moskowitz with ace king.
Paul
Mark
raises
with ace
3,000.
jack.
Mark pushes all in.
All in.
Mark-
Paul's looking to
Paul
double up here.
trapped him.
Wow.
Jack, 2 jacks in the window.
Jacks
my.
on the flop.
Uh-oh. Queen.
Yeah, 1 queen and 1 queen
4
only.
outs for Paul Moskowitz.
And it is the queen.
Nice hand.
And the queen does come.
I can't believe that, Mark.
You had me.
I can't believe
I thought
that.
I trapped you, man.
I can't believe
We go runner, and Paul Moskowitz stays alive.
Okay.
That should just about do it.
Yeah. Actually, Mark has quite a few chips still
Oh,
left.
yes, he
It's
does,
about
doesn't
a
he?
2-1 lead, it looks like, for
Looks
Paul.
like a reverse back to the 20,000 for Mark, 40,000 for.
I mean,
1 minute, 2 seconds left in the blind.
I was sad when the first jack hit, and then the freaking second jack hits. I'm like, goodbye.
Good dealing there, Brandon.
Bring this. You were halfway out the door.
I'm ready to go warm my car up.
He already had his Bic lighter lit and everything.
He pulled those jacks out of the deck and he forgot about the queen.
Or whatever, kid.
Action on Paul.
Let's see if Paul can take a couple more chips out of Mark.
Raised to
here.
5,000 by Paul.
I
See
think Mark
if
might.
Mark gets greedy.
I think you might see a flop here. No.
Yep, Mark folds. We have time for one more at this blind level of 1,000, 2,000, and then the blinds go to 1,500, 3,000.
That hand against the Mark had there, I thought that stuff only happened to me.
I snatched defeat from the jaws of victory.
Paul's going to be raising
Mark
it
calls.
up here with King, Queen suited.
I like the fact that Paul's turned on the aggression now. He's definitely changed gears to try and steal the blinds and is kind of given Mark back exactly what Mark gave him earlier.
At $6,000 raise, did take it down.
I think Mark's going to have to just make a stand here.
My name is Paul Moskowitz, and you cannot push me around.
He's pre-calling. He's pre-calling.
That's pretty rude.
Mark's all in here.
Paul calls. Mark is all in.
Oh, you went all in. Oh,
Paul will fold.
sure.
And it's not that much more.
Mark fold, or I'm sorry, Paul folds.
Enough more.
I don't think.
About
I
8,000
had the whole stack in my hand.
or so.
Button moves over to Mark.
Mark should have roughly 14 to 15,000.
16 minutes, 30 seconds.
The announcers didn't want that queen to hit either. Probably wanted to go to. Dad's here with queen.
Paul getting hit with the deck
No,
still.
you wish I had headphones so I could hear what the hell they were saying.
Mark all in.
And Paul's going to call.
This is where Paul has to make the call.
Yeah.
Doesn't worry about chip count. Just
15.5.
definitely wants to know how much he has left.
Yep, 15,500 total.
They'll be slightly even. Paul might be down 1,000 after this call. So
And a call by
if
Paul.
Mark wins this, he's going to be back to where
Jack
he
3 versus Ace 10.
Yeah. He just had to make a move. Try and double up.
2 threes in the window.
Can you get there? 4?
Not
So
4.
4? You're
I
calling to get smacked? No, it doesn't work.
And another reversal fortune.
does win the hand with a 4 on the river.
Same thing with the Jackson I got. I'm like,
Now
that's
it should be 36 to 24,000 or so. Or 30,
I think it's even more than that.
34, actually, I believe.
I'm going to start racing.
No, probably 20 there.
Shouldn't be. Because he only had 15.5. 15.5 times 2 plus 3,000.
I saw the 1 3 I was
So
happy.
15.5 is what? 31 plus 4 plus
So the
3
one
is
Jack you were
34.
happy also.
And it was 60,000 in play.
Paul calls.
I think
Just
Mark
trying to
should
buy one
shove
on Paul.
here.
Mark checks his option.
With lack of chip lead, Paul slows down.
Mark bets 3,000.
You probably got quads right now, don't you?
King on.
Oh, yeah.
Paul folds.
Oh my God.
A poker game that would never end.
Seriously? Jack 3? 3-3?
Mr. Moskowitz is tilting again.
83-3.
Mark to act first.
Well, Paul, that'll show you that you don't have to wait for premium.
I'm going home.
They're punishing you for
Win
hitting
with
that
those
queen on.
raggedy
I'm going
hands.
home and burning all my poker books because
call.
Well, I don't think there's a poker book in the world that'll tell you to blind yourself out.
Yeah, I'm on the road.
Paul to act first.
Check.
Both players check.
Check.
Mark hit a 6. I think he'll bet now, and it should take it down.
3,000.
I don't even have that. Okay. I'm pulling to 1,000.
As usual, I get stuff on the turn the river.
Yes, why? Here we go again. Well, at least that hand made me
13 minutes, 12 seconds left in the blind.
I think Paul is actually starting to tilt a little bit. He slammed them chips down 2 or 3 times now.
I thought the ace king had to forget the ace 9.
Good position for Paul to smooth call.
Paul calls.
Mark moves all in, and